Hey everyone, in today's video, I want to discuss the 5 things I wish I knew when I first started sim racing.
Throwing flashbang!
I hate wasting people's time, so let's just get into it. Number 1, this one's going to seem obvious, but it's without a doubt the most important thing on this list. Consistency is by far the biggest factor for one's success as a sim racer. I think the hardest part for me to realize was that consistency doesn't mean you have to be the fastest guy on track, it just means you have to be the guy who stays on track the most. I mean, just think about it. Imagine qualifying first, but bending it on the 3rd lap of the race and finding yourself at the end of the grid in the blink of an eye. It doesn't matter how fast you are if you can't constantly keep it on track throughout the race. And even if you are relatively slow, I can almost guarantee that throughout the race, you will make your way up the grid just by running clean laps. Unless of course you're racing on top ranked lobbies, in that case you'll definitely get last. Alright, number 2. Unlike in Formula 1, money can't buy you a spot on the top. What I mean by this is that, for the most part, sim racing isn't pay to win and you don't need the highest end gear to be competitive. Now this by itself is a topic for a whole other video, but if you have even a decent mass market wheel with enough practice, patience, and persistence, you can start winning races. I have absolutely no doubt that there are some people out there running faster laps on an Xbox controller than I do in my setup. This doesn't mean to play on the controller, trust me, get a wheel, I'm just trying to prove a point. I'm mentioning this on this list because I remember getting demotivated every time I saw YouTubers and professional gamers playing on the highest end gear, and whilst it's no secret that those on top are now on crazy high end gear, I can guarantee that they are equally as fast or maybe just tenths slower on something like the G29. And that leads me to number 3, sim racing requires lots of practice and patience, which will undoubtedly pay out in the long run. Let me run you through a story I'm sure many of you guys can probably relate to. I, like most of you watching this, played Forza when I was younger and I didn't really think much of it. I casually played in open lobbies and random races, and 99% of the time it was pure chaos. Cars ramming into each other, some playing cops and robbers performing noteworthy pit maneuvers, and a chat that would get my channel terminated if I dare speak about it. This was the image I had on my mind regarding racing games, and it's what most people probably think of. The thing is, if you're willing to put enough practice and, like I said, have patience, lots and lots of patience, sim racing will become incredibly fun. You will find yourself on higher ranked lobbies with cleaner drivers, you will begin having tight battles, close finishes, and you will realize what makes the motorsport so incredibly entertaining. And this is what makes competitive games so fun. As you improve and face tougher competition, you continue to push yourself to be the best, and if you are a competitive individual like myself, there is no better dopamine rush than claiming the top spot on the podium. I mean, I'm not there yet, but I assume I will get a nice rush at least. These last 2 things are going to be more technical but equally as important. Number 2, understand how a real race car works and reacts when pushed to the limit. There are so many specifics regarding this, but the main things to keep in mind in my opinion are the following. Understand how throttle input affects the traction and stability of a car. The brake and gas pedal should not be treated as an on and off switch, rather a delicate balance that requires understanding and practice to get down. I remember spinning when entering and exiting corners constantly, and I never understood why. This was why. Understand how to brake, when it's ideal to begin braking, and how every car's brakes are a little bit different. This is also a topic for another video, but just learn about braking before expecting to be competitive or consistent. Finally, understand how your car will react to bumps, curves, and turns at different speeds and weather conditions, and how playing with the car's setup will affect this. If you want to learn more about car setups in racing games, I recommend checking out Chris High's guide on this. It's a tad long, but very insightful and extremely useful for those who have little to no idea how this works. Or maybe just stay tuned and one day I'll make a guide of my own. Remember, it's called sim racing for a reason, sim standing for simulation, thus, for the most part, these cars will react very similar to those in real life. And finally, number 1, I would literally go back in time and slap myself for not doing this. Learn the rules. Just like every other game on the planet, there are rules that you have to play by. Everything from understanding the different flags and what they mean to how to properly race in a respectful manner, all of these are things you should understand before hopping into an online race. I remember doing things like getting in people's way in my outlap during a qualifying session and not understanding why I couldn't just block someone from passing me. I cringe thinking about it, but it's the reality. Learn the game, for God's sake, learn the game. I think that was 5. Was that 5? Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, dislike if you didn't, just kidding, please don't dislike. And subscribe if you want to see more quality sim racing content. Thank you all for watching, stay safe, and have a fantastic rest of your day.